Hi there, this video is part of a series of videos on making stickers for a vertical weekly kit for the Erin Condren. I recommend going back to the beginning of this series to watch it all through. So in this video, I'm going to be making checklists, ombre heart checklists, and then like normal checklists. I'm hoping they all fit in this one sticker sheet, but if they don't, I'll just figure it out from there. So let's start by making my ombre heart checklist. Not my heart checklist. I'm just making normal checklists, not heart ones. So I'm going to start by making this the size of a full box, which is 1.5 by 1.9. So if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that when I make stickers, I also offset by 0.03 to allow for like some wiggle room when I am printing and cutting, so my cutting tool is allowed to have some inconsistencies. Now, since I add that like little bit of border, making these is a little tricky. So I'm going to start by making these like the size I would normally do. So I'm have my calculator here, and the height of this is 1.9, and I want to have 6 checklists. So usually I'd make these between 0.317 height around, right? Yeah, 0.317, and then the width would be that width of 1.5. So when you'd stick them in here, they would fit nicely. But since I have that extra little bit of space, I have to do something a little different. So I'm going to start by making these the correct width, because the width is not going to change between each of these boxes. So it's 1.561. Let's align that with the outer thing and line it up with the inner thing. Okay, and let's duplicate that below until I get 6 of them. So now we have 4, and 2 more make 6. Perfect. So what I'm trying to do now is account for that space up here, and since it is 0.03, I know I just need to make the top bar and the bottom bar teensy weensy bit larger, so they'll stay 0.561, but I will upgrade this by 0.03. Let's line that up with the top bar and make sure that works. It does. And let's do that to the bottom one then. Very cool. So I'm going to get rid of the outer box because I don't need it anymore. I'm also going to take all of those things that I just made and make this line blue because I don't want this line to be cut, and make the inner line red because it is a cut line. So now it's time to work on the actual ombre effect. So different shops do the ombre effect differently, but I would like to go from darkest to lightest. So I'm going to start by just choosing a random color for all of these, and I'm going to go ahead and just choose the same blue I made the outline border. It's a pretty bright blue. And all I'm going to do is then increase the transparency of it. So I'm going to go ahead and start by going in sequences of 10, starting at 15%, and see how I like it. I might change the color because this is a little bit of like a overbearing color. Let's choose like a more normal. I'm gonna have to get rid of the lines because they're screwing me all up. Alright, so there's that ombre. Very nice. I'm going to go ahead and, just for the purposes of this template, because this is I'm basically making a template, I'm going to put it gray. I'm going to send them all to the back so I can see the cut lines. I will group this together and go ahead and make 8 of them and group those together. So this does not leave me a lot of room for my checklist, which is a little bit concerning. So hold on, let me think this through. Alright, so I just checked with several different sticker kits I have with me, and the majority of them, so let's make this be the size of the kit thing. Sorry, I'm not speaking right. Let me go ahead and make these the size that they most have, which is 0.375. Yikes, that is no way. There's no way I'm going to fit 8 of these, is there? I can't imagine it. So there is something I'm going to do instead. So I just drug this sticker template thing from my horizontal template. Let me get rid of it. But since I use horizontal kits, this is the width that I make my checklists, and I'm fine with this width. It works for me. So let's see if I can make it work with this, and if it looks good. So let's ungroup that so I know what size these are. They are 0.3. Okay, so it's not that much smaller. So I could fit 2 here, 2 there. I could probably get 1, 2 or 3. It does not look like they're going to fit on this page. Huh. Interesting. Let me think about this. Alright, I decided what I'm going to do, and I think it's not going to be a very popular opinion, but let me see first of all how this would work out in terms of the original sizing. It's not going to fit, right? Yeah, I can't really eyeball these things. So instead of making 8 checklists, which is what most kits come with, these kits are mostly for me, and I don't use the small checklists often. I tend to add them in throughout the week, but I never use 8 of them. At max, I think I've used like 2, maybe 3. So I'm just going to make 4 of them. Yeah. So, I usually do them here with that, like, divot right there, and I'm trying to decide if I like that or not. You know what, let's just do it. It's normal. So, to make this, I'm going to first of all cut it in half again in terms of width. This is very similar to how I made my little small flags for, like, the edges of, nope, I don't like that. For the edges of the vertical kits, but I'm just trying to get a nice, yeah, that's nice. So I'm just trying to get a nice cut on there, and then I'm going to mirror it to the right. Gotta move these together and weld them together, just so it's even. Weld those 2 pieces together, and then the size of those is going to gotta make sure it's large enough since I move things around. 0.3, 1.9. Alright, let's work on the dots. So these again are from my horizontal, but I'll just recreate it all. My goal is to get this to nicely fit in the width of this and work from there. Perfect. So I need 6 of them again. 2, 4, 6. Let's move this to, the lowest I like going is like here. Yeah. So let's go ahead and space those vertically, group them together, and then within this, center them in here. Not that kind of center. I meant this kind of center. Okay, so for these, I'm going to make the insides of them white. You can always use this to add some kind of border to them. I know a lot of people like to add glitter when they make them hearts. So then let me go ahead and offset this. 0.03. That didn't look right. What did I do wrong? That looks like a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to make the offset smaller just so I make sure it fits, because, yeah, 0.0. Yeah, that looks fine. Blue, group that all together. Okay, let's just go ahead and duplicate 1 to the right and 1 below. Group that together, align it to the top of my ombres. Oh, that looks nice. It'll fit nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Move this over until it's like bumping edges with the ombre. Group those together. In my last video, I made this like inner square within the weekly so I could center things, and I love it. So obviously you can't see the dots because it is on a white background, but that is done. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup so that I can get the dots over to this thing. Not what I meant to do. Cool. So I'm going to also ungroup this. Usually I do this beforehand, but I wanted to, before I moved on, make sure everything all worked out. So ungroup. So this is like where along the edge I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, no, this also needs to be ungrouped. For each one of these boxes, I'm going to middle align it. You don't have to do it for all of them, you just have to do it for the top and the bottom, because then you can just grab these and space them vertically. And they should be right, right? Oh, they could be shifted a teensy bit just because of how we made these boxes, but it's not enough for me to care. Group those back together and stick them back in here. Ta-da! Alright, so I have my checklist done. I know a lot of people like to add more than 4 checklists since a lot of people use kits more than just how I use them. But for me, I can't imagine ever using 8 checklists. I don't do white space, and if I did do white space, I guess I could pull them in somehow else. Other than that, that is it for making our checklists, and let me group it all together. So I'm actually going to switch these two kits locations on this page, or these page locations, because I want the ombre heart checklist to be on the bottom and the regular full boxes to be on top. Just a preference thing.